Hey guys, Rock Chick 32 here. I'm going to continue on my stories of I guess you would call it a journal of my life. I'm doing this to help people. I'm doing this for people to understand, to not just to help the people out there that have the problems, but for others to maybe understand what other people are going through. And I'm hoping that my son with seizures isn't going to get bullied, but I got bullied all throughout my life. So if somebody watches this and maybe understands the things that they're not going to completely understand, but have a good look at what, or understanding about what somebody would go through. The reason that I can't think right now is because last night I did have a seizure. I am terrified of ants. Terrified. I don't care about spiders. I don't care about bees. I don't care about any bug, but for some tragedy I had as a little kid falling in a fire pit, or a pit of fire ants, and then biting me. I'm terrified of ants. So when I did that, I think it was that my legs were burning for days and days and days and stuff, and it was just so horrific. And they put me on these steroids to try to get it to go away. But I woke up last night and there was ants all over my bed, so that stressed the freaking out of me. And I'm trying not to cuss in here because I did in my other ones and people didn't like it, I guess. But it terrified me and stressed me out, so I had a little bit of a seizure last night. So bear with me. I'm probably going to slur more than I usually do. I'm probably going to repeat words. I'm probably not going to make any sense in some sentences, because when I have a seizure, my mind slows down and it feels like everything is just, the world is going slower all day. I kind of have a headache right now, which is better than my migraines I usually get. My stomach hurts, so it's normal side effects of after effects of having a seizure. But when I was about 7 years old, I was diagnosed with seizures, and they were considered complex partial, which can be anything from simple seizure to where you just stare off into space and then you're done, or anywhere from that to grand mal, which is where you can bite off your tongue and hurt yourself. And my mom said that I reminded her of poltergeist, because there'd be times that I could just turn my head all the way back to my behind, right here, and it'd be really creepy. And she'd try to stop me from doing that so I don't break my neck. They said that though, if it was a twisted, or literally twisted, but it was a catch-22, I think you would call it, because if she stopped me from doing it, it might harm me, but if she didn't stop me, I might break my neck. That was one thing that scared her all the time. And that was more into the grand mal type of seizures. But most of the time I'd have I forgot what they were called. All I know is I have complex partial, there's simple and grand mal, and then there's I don't know the name of all the other ones in between, but most of the time I'd have one where I'd get this taste in my mouth, and then I know a second that I'm gonna have a seizure, and I'd tell my mom, I'm gonna, and then she'd know, because it only lasts a second. And then I'd have a seizure, and I'd start turning around and going blah 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 blah, and moving my hands weird or something like that. Smacking, that was one of them. Biting my tongue, that was another. But that happened from when I was 4 years old, is when she started to notice it, when I had the side effects and said my stomach didn't feel good, to today, still having them. But today the bad thing is that they're more harmful and life risking. I'm having which they said is one of the rare cases of seizures you can have, and we don't know if it's because of my machine right here that I have, which is for my seizures, or if it's because of what's going on in my brain. But every time I have a seizure, weirdly, it's at night now. And when I do, I'm awake of it. Like before, I like would go off into where I didn't know what I was doing, you know, and I didn't know what was going on, and I just, like, my brain would shut down and I'd wander off or something, and then I'd come out of it and I'd go, okay, what happened? Now, I am completely there. I'm awake. I know that I'm having a seizure, but when I do, I can't breathe. Literally, I am choking. Like, it feels like somebody, as I said before, I caught myself on one of my videos, smuggling me. That's not the right word. Smothering me. It feels like somebody is smothering me with a pillow. I am into, like, ID, the channel ID. I've always been, like, fascinated with cases and how they solve them and stuff, and studying serial killers and why they do this and why they do that as a brain thing, you know. Since they have seizures, I've always been into the brain. And every time they say on a show, you know, nowadays when I watch it, that's the worst way you could die, is somebody for 5 minutes just smothering you with a pillow. You know, it's so tragic, and, you know, it's one of the hardest things that somebody could ever go through. I go through it every time I have a seizure. I've had about 15, I think about around almost 20 of them. So it's about 20 times. It wasn't like 5 minutes, it lasted like a minute or even 45 seconds. But still, once you're choking, it feels like it's like forever. So instead of happening it to me once, it's happened to me around 20 times, and it sucks. Because I feel I can't breathe and I can't do anything about it. And there's been twice that my face was blue, I passed out, and my husband had to blow in my mouth to bring me back. And one time he said that I almost didn't come back, so that's the time that we decided, okay, let's go figure out what's going on. And we went down to Stanford. I had a 5-day study again, and because I had one when I was 14. And they said that it wasn't just me thinking I was suffocating or something, because you don't know what's going on when you're in a seizure. I was actually suffocating because they hooked me up to the machine. They figured out what they did is they flipped me to my side to help me breathe more, but I was still suffocating. So they said, this is a life-risking thing. You're going to need to have surgery. As I said, when I was 14, I had that test done before, because I had where my seizures were getting so clustered, where I'd repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, that they'd have to put me on Valium and I'd be knocked out for like 3 days. And I was missing so much school and everything else. And I was planning on having brain surgery, because they had me on Dilantin, they had me on Tegretol, they had me on Depakote, they had me on all the different pills, and nothing worked. So they said, instead of surgery, let's go ahead and try you on this little experiment. Because back in the day of, 1995 is when it was. These vagal nerve stimulators that I have right here connected to my neck were just brand new. They're still, scientists were still studying and everything else. I feel a lot of people have them now for depression, and they, which should be helping my depression, but it's not. If anything, it's making me more depressed. But this right here, it goes off for 30 seconds every 3 minutes, I think, is what I have it set at. I have it set at the lowest setting of power, because one of the things they told me that it will do to you is that every time it goes off, your voice will sound weird. And with me singing, I couldn't take that risk. So I asked them to go ahead and try the lowest, and we'll go from there. Well, luckily, I got the lowest setting. It worked for about 2005 or 2004, then for 5 years, about 15 years, I think. No, it was probably about 12 years. I had no seizures. I might have had them like during the day, and like, but they didn't pop out, you know, it's just happened in my head and I didn't know about it. Like every once in a while I'd have a headache and not feel good. I'd still get the side effects, but that was better than having like 4 a day. And it was amazing. Then I could, even though I had that, I still couldn't keep a job because like when I did, as I said, I had the side effect of it. So when I, being fatigued and everything from the seizures, having no immune system, everything, I would always not be able to keep up a job. Like one time I tried to be a maid at Best Western and I couldn't carry that big cart upstairs and stuff like that like they were expecting me to do, and it was like knocking me out and everything, and they fired me over my health problem, which they weren't supposed to do, but they made some excuse, and everybody knows out there how bosses do that. So I went to Social Security. They gave me disability, and I have lived off that since then. But right now I am scheduled to do brain surgery again. I just had my last test that I fought with my insurance for about a year to have, like 8 months, which I didn't even, still didn't even cover it. I filled out a waiver for Stanford, and they gave me that waiver and said, you know, we'll take care of it. But the reason is because it wasn't considered medical, since they ask you questions and stuff and quiz you, like saying like how your memory is and which side they think your brain is better. So like if they do, like my seizures are in my left temporal lobe, and they quiz you on things to make sure that, you know, that's where it is. If we do surgery there, are you still going to be okay? I'm a little frightened after this test because they kind of told me I have what's called young set Alzheimer's or something like that, it seems. And I've noticed that. Like, I've always told my grandma that has, see, right now I'm doing it again, dementia. Like, she would always say, like, she knows the word. It's in her head, but she can't think of it. And I said, you know, I know how you feel. I felt like I always had that too now. Like the last 3 years, it's gotten so bad that I feel like I have dementia. I can't remember anything. I think that something would have happened. Like one time, for an example, my husband has contacts, okay? And we buy this contact solution that's like $26. And with having 2 kids, especially with my health problems, my son's health problems, you know, our house, we have like no money. And I told him that I just remembered putting away that box in the bathroom, that we already had it. He just bought it like last week. That's what I remember, was last week putting it away. Then we get home, the box is empty. He says those things last him like 3 to 4 months. And then we look it up on, after you scan your receipt on Walmart, you know, and it shows that we bought it 4 months ago. Even though I know in my head that I remember it happening like not even a week ago. And that happens to me a lot. I can't find things. I mean, I know everybody can't find things, but it's like a severe thing of can't finding things. I can't remember that I just like cooked my breakfast in the microwave and it will be sitting there. When my husband gets home, he's like, Sabe, you didn't eat breakfast. I'm like, I thought I did, you know, and I didn't. So it's getting a lot worse, and they're considering that it's something close to like Alzheimer's. So that's, I guess there's something that they consider young Alzheimer's. And because of that, I don't think I'm going to qualify for this surgery. Because if you have brain surgery, to get removed from your left temporal lobe, then you're going to lose, usually a lot of people lose a little bit, some of their memory. And if I'm already having problems like this, I think this test I'm not going to pass, and that I'm just going to be stuck with choking the rest of my life. Now, there's one solution that I have to this of asking the doctor. She's putting me on these pills right now that are seeming to wean me down and not have as severe seizures. But she says that this is what I don't understand. She says that they're a pill that works, so you can't be on them forever. Like, it's a pill that somebody cannot be on for all the time because of what type of pill they are. Now, I have to get it reapproved in the pharmacy like every 3 months. I don't know if it's like some kind of legal or like a drug you get addicted to or something like that. But it's working. And whatever it is, it's working. And of course, the one that works for me, I cannot have the rest of my life. So, I don't know if that's something with the doctors in the pharmacy that they work together and say, you know, hey, this works on people. Let's not give it to them, you know, so they have to buy more. I really don't understand that. Hey guys, sorry, somebody called me, one of those stupid calls that everybody gets nowadays. But I was explaining that, you know, I think I get these things not every day, but during the day now, even, just not at night, because there's a couple times that, like, someone will stress me out, and they think I'm sick or something, so they won't get near me because I'll start coughing and coughing and coughing, and then, like, I start coughing so bad, my eyes are watering, and I'm gonna throw up, and then I can't breathe. I can't breathe, and I can't breathe, and I can't breathe. And instead of somebody helping me, because they, you know, they're just backing away and everything, and I'm trying to ask for help, but I can't breathe. And that really sucks. That really sucks. So right now, there's really only one great solution compared to the 20 other bad ones that I have, and I feel that I am just screwed. Because if I can't get this surgery, then, as I said, I'm going to be choking the rest of my life, and I feel that I'm going to probably die. I've died, as I explained, I've died twice almost already, and I don't want my kids to grow up without a mom, but then I also don't want them to grow up with a mom they have to take care of at 8 and 10 years old. Even though my son is 10 years old, he has a mind of a 4 to 6 year old. So he has severe health problems, and my youngest one is the smartest one of the family. Even though he's 8, he has the brain of like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. He's been diagnosed with genius. It's like genius something. But what it is if you've seen the movie Lucy, after I saw this, I understood more what my doctor told me about this. When you're young, you know, you start off at like 1%, 2% as a baby, 3% as a toddler, 4-5% of using your brain. And all through our lives, we only go to the highest level of 10%. Some smarter people have like 12%, you know, stuff like that. But of all the stuff in our brain, we only use 10%. With my son's age, he is supposed to be at like 5-6%, and he's at like, you know, 9. So they consider that a genius. He can't like play the piano, he's no Albert Einstein, he's ahead in reading, you know, he's doing really good in school, even though he's missing a lot of school because of me and his brother. When he was 3 years old, oh my gosh, this shocked the hell out of me. When he was 3 years old, he played Spyro on the game system, and he loved it so much that he beat it in an hour. I still haven't beat that game. I mean, I don't play it as much as, you know, all the time, but when I was a kid, I played and I played and I died, and I'd have to start over, and I'd save, and, you know, then I wouldn't get past this one place. He beat it in an hour at 3 years old. That was insane. But ever since then, he's become like addicted to video games. He thinks it's like me and my TV and the stuff that I watch, like his other life, his comfort zone, because of what he has to go through with his brother and his severe health problems, being beat up and picked on and everything from his brother. With me, him always feeling that he's paid less attention to, which I try so hard to pay more attention to. I take him out, I take him to the arcade, but he's a kid. And he feels that, like, he's paid less attention to, that he never gets anything he wants, that things are unfair, which he can't understand. They have to be unfair because his brother has severe health problems. So when he's depressed and everything, he'll go to his video games. I've tried to tell him, since he loves to read, he reads better than I do. He always reading stuff to me, and that makes me feel horrible because I am his mother. He is 8 years old. He should not be reading better than me. I mean, I know they've changed this cycle and how they teach you in school and everything because they want kids to be smarter than our generation, I guess. But, and that's another thing that pisses me off. I mean, the way that they teach kids in school these days, I can't help my kid with homework. I feel so useless because he is smarter than me. I can't help him with his homework because they teach him a different way. So I'm reading the directions. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And it's very irritating. Very irritating. So if I go and I have the surgery for my seizures, and I come back and I'm even, more dumber or no less because of my memory loss, then that's going to make me feel even worse. It's going to make me feel like my 8-year-old is taking care of me, and I don't want that. I really don't want that. I don't know what would be better if I pass away, or and he can continue on with his life, or if I don't pass away and he has to take care of me for the rest of his life. I really don't. I don't know what would be better, and I'm just stuck because of it's the only great solution we can have is if I have this one where I qualify the best out of this test, which I didn't do. And it'd be a laser being stuck on the back of my head. They go up and then they remove this one part of my brain with not all the seizure, but most of it. And it will improve your seizures by like 40%. So instead of having like these choking things and going really strong, then they'll be mild and it won't happen as much. It might not even be my brain that's doing that. It might even be my vagal nerve stimulator because I've had it since 1995 up here, and I know it's probably got a lot of scar tissue around it. And maybe like a lot of times when after I got it, I'd feel it going off or something, like they put it too close to a nerve, and it felt like somebody was stabbing me in the neck. Like I was like, like I could tell it was going off for that 30 seconds. Like I'd be turned a certain way or something, and I feel they put it in a wrong place or like too close to something. And now with being that it's been this long and that I've had more seizures, probably has more scar tissuing and everything, maybe that's what's choking me. So that's my next step. I'm going to ask, if I can't get this brain surgery, can I get this thing replaced or removed? Because I wouldn't want to get it removed. I'd want to get it replaced. Like, not just this battery, but the whole wire, new surgery and everything. And because I know or maybe they could just clean that scar tissue. I don't know, but that's got to have something to do with the choking. But still, I said I'm very depressed these days and watching a lot of ID because I feel I'm stuck. No way that I go is going to be good. And especially with my luck that I get throughout my life, I have very little faith in getting the one good solution compared to the 20 others. I mean, you weigh that out, it's very little chance, let alone when you have a big chance, I don't get it. So that is my story, I guess, today for my seizures. Since I don't have my kids today, it's Monday, my mom already took them and everything. They didn't even go to school today because I couldn't get up and drive, and so I called her over, and when I told my son, when I told his teacher that he was having a couple seizures throughout the weekend, they said they didn't want him today, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. Because after he has his seizures and stuff, he's like, angry and severe, and I can understand, like, the last couple times that he's thrown a desk at a kid, you know, he hurt him and stuff like that. So I can understand, but, you know, that's why they're Nexus. That's why they're the program that's supposed to help kids with severe health problems, instead of just saying they don't want him. So that kind of made me mad. But I'm going to continue on with my son. I'm going to probably talk about his problems. I think I'm going to do like part 1, part 2, part 3 type thing. I'll try to talk about the Klinefelters and like divide that with his side effects of that, which is the OCDs, how everything always has to be the same. But then they also say that's from his autism. So, I mean, it's going to be really hard for me to divide this all, because they even said that everything together equals out something else that I'm going to talk about too, which they can't diagnose him with because it's just from all the side effects of what he has already. That he doesn't have it in his brain, he just has it from all the side effects, which I think is ridiculous, because they should diagnose him since they know he has it, but it's just from side effects. Sorry if that ending was confusing, but if you continue watching my next videos, you'll understand. As I said, I'm trying to do the best that I can. Sometimes when I do have seizures and my brain is going slower and the world is going slower, sometimes it even works better for me. Like, that's the best time to sing. I mean, sadly, of course, the day I can sing my heart out, I can't find my connection piece that goes to where I can fit my headphones and my earbuds inside my phone, because it's only a different, you know, plug-in now for these certain iPhones. Excuse me. But I'm going to continue on. My next video is going to be about my son and some of his problems and what we go through. So that will be part 1 of my motherhood adventure, I'm going to call it. That would be the best. So, hope you watch it, and I'll see you next time.